don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't.
Hey team, hope you're all doing well. I wanted to go over the top 10 tips for running a faster half marathon. And again, these are my top 10 tips. And there's plenty of other strategies, other techniques that you can do to run a faster marathon. But I hope that at least hearing from some of the things that I was doing that helped me in this event can help you. I think the first most important thing when you're training for a half marathon is, one, focus on a longer buildup, okay? Give yourself more time to prepare for your race. And in my opinion, I think 16 weeks is a good solid plan, 4 months, out to even 5 months, versus if you're trying to prepare for a half marathon in a matter of 2 months, okay? Yes, there's definitely other runners out there that do very well and can still set a new personal best in a matter of 8 weeks. But I think that when you look at how much time it takes to adapt to specific workouts that we do, whether it's on the track or on the roads, it takes about 28 days to adapt. So a longer buildup is going to make sure that you're not rushed, you have less stress on yourself to perform at a high level, and you give yourself more time to maybe do some time trials preparing for a half marathon, okay? Setting up some preparatory races during that 4 to 5 month buildup, rather than trying to do it all in a matter of 8 weeks, 2 months. So a longer buildup is the first tip. Second tip for running a faster half marathon, and these are things that I used when I was racing and at my peak. Running the tangents in the race, running the least amount of distance as possible. Okay, you need to be thinking strategically prior to the start of your race, and more importantly, practicing this in training. Okay, if running the tangents just simply means you're running on if the turn's coming up and it's on the right hand side of the road, you get to the right hand side of the road. You don't stay in the middle of the road or the left hand side of the road where you're running more distance. Okay, always focus on how can I get better results in my half marathon by working less than my competition. Okay, so running the tangents. This helped me go from a 1:13 half marathon time when I was in college down to 1:07:06. Okay, even when I ran 1:07 in Philadelphia, I was doing the same exact thing. I was running with some very, very fast runners, but I was always veering off to the side of the road where the turns were coming up. Always thinking of that as well. Even my nephew, who's much better than I ever was as a runner, I always remind him just sometimes to, when he's running his cross country races, always run those tangents in the race because you're running less distance than your competition. Let them run further than they need to. You know, not being disrespectful to your competition. Respect your competition, but at the same time, this is about your particular race. Focus on your race, which is the next tip. Focus on your race. Don't focus on who's coming into the race or what times they've run. It's natural to get hyped up in that. I certainly got hyped up with that type of stuff earlier in my career as well, but it got to a point where I was like, it doesn't matter who's in the race. I'm racing the clock. I'm going to do the very best I can on that particular day. And again, just being smart when it comes to racing. The next tip I would say to running a faster half marathon is to run faster long runs. Okay, I preach this in my courses. I preach this on most of my videos that you'll watch. If you're a new subscriber to my channel, or if you're just watching this video and this is the first video you've watched, if you go back and watch other videos, I always stress the importance of faster long runs, because you want to get outside of your comfort zone and run at varied paces throughout that long run. Okay, and not just running slow and relaxed every single weekend. Okay, it's still critical. Don't get me wrong, it's still very critical to learn to run slow for long periods of time. If you're training for a half marathon, you want to both run slow long runs as well as faster varied pace long runs. So one weekend you run long, get that long run out to like 17 to 18 miles. If you do that, you're psychologically, you're already running much further than your race distance. So naturally you could say, I've done 18-mile long runs in training. What is this 13.1 mile race or 21.1 kilometers? I can go out there and I can do this. I've done this several times in training. I have help in the race versus when you're out alone on those long runs by yourself. And so make sure that you're not only running longer distances, 16 to 18 miles, but also don't get in the rut of just running relaxed and easy every single weekend. Okay. So keep that in mind. Okay. Faster varied pace long runs should be done every other weekend. Okay. So easy one weekend, follow the next weekend by, you're running a few miles or kilometers at relaxed, a few kilometers at goal race, half marathon race pace, a few miles or kilometers easy, run 1 mile maybe at like 5 to 10K race pace, drop a really fast mile right in the middle of your long run, relax for a few kilometers, a few miles, then run a few kilometers or miles at 10 seconds faster than goal half marathon race pace. So again, you're just changing up the intensities. And again, it's also going to make things more interesting. It's very easy to get bored and stale sometimes in training, so you want to mix up your training. So that's another tip that's very important. The next strategy I would recommend, the next tip for running a faster half marathon, is to pre-plan. Make sure that you lessen any amount of logistical stress, any type of stress that's on yourself preparing for your half marathon. Pre-plan. Find a fast half marathon that you want to focus 100% of your effort on, and get your travel, get the flight, hotel, all the logistics out of the way in advance. That way, it's just one less stress that you have on yourself going into your half marathon. So make sure you're doing that. The next tip for running a faster half marathon is mental rehearsal. Okay, I always tell my runners, and even in all the videos I've made in the past, I usually mention that mental rehearsal, visualizing yourself, and it doesn't take more than about 5 to 10 minutes each day to do this. Visualize yourself running the way you want to run, passing your competition, getting across the finish line with that time that you're aiming for. If it's like you're trying to break an hour and 45 minutes, seeing that 1:44:59 on the clock, and seeing yourself performing at a high level. You have to continually, routinely, just as you routinely get out the door and you train physically, you want to train mentally as well, so that you're combining both mental and physical preparation so that you can perform at the highest level that you possibly can. Again, the best middle to long distance runners I've trained with, including Olympians, I've been very fortunate to be around some phenomenal runners. This was a part of their preparation. Even my collegiate coach, Jack Hazen, he would have us, I remember in Alamosa, Colorado, we spent some time out there at Adams State College, which is Adams State University now, and Dr. Joe Vigil was the coach there for over 30 years. And Coach Vigil allowed us to stay in their wrestling room. That's where we basically slept. But Coach Hazen would have us do that. He would turn off the lights and tell us for 10 minutes, just visualize yourself performing at a high level. And you can do this anytime. Best time is when you first wake up in the morning or when you go to bed at night. So do that, mental training. Make that a part of your preparation. The next tip for running a faster half marathon is to make sure that you're running over the hills. You're doing hill repetitions, whether that's like repeat hundreds, repeat 150 meter reps. You're running over hillier terrain, maybe doing like a 10 to 12 mile run over hillier terrain, so that again you're working different muscle groups preparing your body and preparing your mind to run at paces that, especially if you're doing hill repetitions and you're doing sprints, you know you're not going to hold that particular pace for the full 13.1 miles or 21.1 kilometers. Okay, but again, you want to improve the body's lactate tolerance, and you're not going to do that by just running relaxed all the time. So make sure that you're emphasizing doing some hill repetitions or running over hillier terrain once per week. The next tip is strength training. Make sure that you give yourself at least once per week. I don't really think most runners really need to do more than once per week doing strength training. Okay, that can come in the form of doing just crunches, planks, push-ups when you're at home, or if you want to go to the gym, you want to focus more on explosive type activities where you're doing box jumps, balance drills where you're balancing on a medicine ball, or you're doing balancing drills, or you're doing medicine ball drills, things of that nature where you're really focusing on recruiting those fast twitch muscle fibers that you're going to recruit by when you're doing more explosive activities, whether that's in the form of strength training or speed workouts on the track, or if you're doing fartlek workouts on the roads, maybe like 2 minutes hard, 1 minute easy, running very fast, and again, you're learning to run outside of your comfort zone and just running easy. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that as well. The next tip for running a faster half marathon is to focus on a 10-day taper. Okay, if you've been doing 3-week tapers in the past, keep your volume and intensity high up until about 10 days. You want to make sure that you're continuing to remind the body, remind the legs, remind the mind of what you're training to do all the way up until just a few days out. Okay, a lot of times we start dropping volume and intensity too far out, and you'll go in feeling tired and lethargic. You want to feel motivated, relaxed, and energized going into your race. Okay, so that's another thing. And I think the last tip for running a faster half marathon is to stay relaxed. Be confident in what you've done in training. You're going to see a lot of stressed out athletes around you, your competition, way too uptight. Trust your training. Okay, the day of the race is your celebration of all the work you've put in. Okay, so it's not a day where you're just so tense and so stressed out that you're so worried and you're overly analyzing what I need to do in the race. Do that in your preparation. Okay, be confident in yourself and what you've done in preparation, so that when you get to the race, you have zero doubt in what you're going to do in the race. You can handle any type of pace changes that your competition throws at you because you've done it in training first. Okay, so those are my top 10 tips for running a faster half marathon. Of course, I can think of a lot of other things, and we'll do that in other videos in the future, but those are the top 10 that I would consider for running a faster half marathon. Please let me know in the comment section below what you all think. What are some additional tips that you can share with the Run, Dream, Achieve community, and let them know that maybe they can change or tweak in their own training that would help them as well. I'd really appreciate that. So as I always say, this channel is not just about me. It's about other athletes, all of you, and what you share and what you leave, the comments you leave on my videos are highly, highly appreciative. I really appreciate the what you bring to this sport, and regardless if you're a total beginner, you have something to say. There's total beginners out there, and you might be one of them, that have some valuable tips and strategies that can help an elite athlete that maybe is not thinking the way that he or she needs to be thinking about, that you can share with them and help impact their running. So thank you so much for your support of this channel. Please like and share these videos. I really appreciate that. Helps other athletes around the world to see these videos, and it helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you're looking to take your training racing to the next level, check out the resources below or on RunDreamAchieve.com, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.